This forum for candidates for San Bernardino School District Board of Trustees is brought to you by the League of Women Voters, San Bernardino Area. I'm Dorthy Garcia, a member of the League and moderator for this forum. The League of Women Voters, a nonpartisan organization, encourages voting and the informed and active participation of all citizens. We influence government through education and advocacy. The League does not support or oppose any candidate or political party. And tonight we have an interpreter available for those who wish to hear this forum in Spanish, and there's information in the corner about that. First, I will introduce the candidates. And so when you're introduced, would you just raise your hand? I know your name is there, but it's not a little help. Joette Spencer Campbell, Tressy Capps, Mayra Ceballos, Micah Gallo, Dr. Margaret Hill, Heather Johnson, Gwen Dowdy Rodgers, and Dr. Scott Wyatt. The order of speaking has been drawn by lot. After opening statements, the candidates will respond to questions prepared by the League of Women Voters based on input from members, some community members, and some high school students and teachers. The first candidate answering a question will rotate. Then each candidate will have an opportunity for a 2-minute closing statement. And the closing statements will be presented in the same order as the opening statements. All candidate remarks will be timed to ensure equal opportunity for everyone. The time remaining for each statement or answer will be shown on your screens. There will be a stop sign when it's time for a candidate to stop. Please do that. And now to begin, each candidate will have a 2-minute opening statement. They've been asked why they are running for the school board and what experiences or skills have prepared them to serve as a board member. The first candidate is Dr. Scott Wyatt.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for having this wonderful forum tonight for us to be able to come and talk with our community. First of all, why am I running for school board? Well, this started many, many years ago as a parent. My first and foremost responsibility is being a parent first, and I've been very fortunate to have 2 children who have attended schools here in San Bernardino City Unified School District. My daughter has graduated a few years ago, and she's currently attending ASU. So that is compliments to our district and the wonderful job that they've done. And my son is currently a senior at Cajon High School. So that has always been the premise for me for wanting to run for school board, is to ensure that we have quality school programs for all of our children. In regards to my qualifications, I've been very fortunate to be elected to the school board, finishing up my first term. I'm currently the vice president, and I think we have an outstanding school board right now, making wonderful things happen for our kids in our district and our city and our community. I'm a lifelong educator. I've been in education since 1994, so almost 26 years. I've worked in many different areas of education, K-12 education, alternative ed, juvenile court schools, independent studies, special education, and been very fortunate to supervise the school at the Loma Linda Children's Hospital as well. My educational credentials, I have a doctorate in educational leadership and educational justice. I've got a master's degree in education administration as well. Done graduate programs in E-Tech, studied credentials in special education, multiple subject education, education administration, along with many other certifications. But really the main qualification I think that I want to emphasize though is just being a parent and living through the experiences of having a student and children go through our school district and our school programs. Learn more that way than any other way possible. And we've had good experiences, and time's up. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Campbell, you're next. Oh, she's
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. As a classified employee for San Bernardino City Schools for 27 years, I worked numerous district programs and sites. I entered the district as a clerk at Vermont Elementary School. And I was there for floated around for about 9 years, and I promoted to sociological services specialist. In this capacity, I responded to children and families in crisis. Some didn't always have the patience to fully communicate with the families. Through my many home visits and interactions, I found that they were parents just like me in the mid-20s when I had my daughter enter school. We all want what's best for our children, but we don't always know how to help. I am the mother of 3 children that graduated from San Bernardino City Schools. I have 5 grandchildren now attending district schools. And I want to give back to the parents and the teachers that helped me to navigate was a difficult situation for me and my children. I was a pregnant minor at 17, and it was a difficult struggle for me. So I just stand ready to give back to the community that gave to me. And Margaret Hill is one of those people that did give to me. That's it.
Thank you. Is that it? Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Gallo, you're next.
Great, thank you. And appreciate the League of Women Voters inviting us to participate in this forum. My name is Mike Gallo, and I'm the president and CEO of a company called Kelly Space and Technology that's been here at the former Norton Air Force Base for 27 years. After I graduated from Air Force Academy and went to Air Force Institute of Technology for my graduate level work. I formed Kelly Space after my Air Force career and working for the administrator of NASA for 10 years. We've been in business 27 years in this city and basically focused on economic development, workforce investment, and education. Those are my primary areas of focus. And what I've been interested in doing and focused on since I was elected to the school board in December of 2011 is to basically inspire and engage our students in hands-on project-based learning that can equip them with the skills and abilities to effectively compete for our demand occupations within our demand industry sectors. We've done a lot of work at the state. I'm a governor appointee on the State Workforce Investment Board. I've been leading the Career Pathways and Education Committee for over 10 years for the state of California. And we've been directing these types of investments in these applied learning experiences to engage our kids, not just educate from a standpoint of conveying information, but to provide these exciting hands-on applied learning experiences that they can derive a career opportunity and create a pathway for prosperity to themselves. So I've been focused on not only the career pathways and college and career applications, but also for our special education students. I can't see the clock up there, by the way.
Thank you. Mrs. Capps, you're next. We can't hear Tressy Capps.
Should
Okay. And try again. Try now.
Hi, my name is Tressy Capps, and I'm running for school board because I have 3 grandchildren who reside in the district. I have 2 grown sons who both graduated from college with debt-free degrees. I think education is so important, and I'm very engaged in my community in different ways. I worked for a couple of years at the Etiwanda School District, restoring busing for the kids, fighting for, not working with the district, more working against the district, but trying to get them to restore busing. And I was successful with other parents after about a year. So anyways, I'm just, I want to be engaged in my community. Whatever I do it 100%. So, so yeah, I've taught release time to 4th and 5th graders before, so I do have experience teaching. I've also had to, by default, teach my 6-year-old niece at the end of last year when we all got locked down, and I know how difficult that is now that I've done it. So anyways, I just, I have a lot to bring to the table. I've worked with I was part of the San Bernardino Leadership Academy in 2019. I've been very engaged at the city, county, and regional level with different organizations, including San Bernardino County Transportation Authority and SCAG over the past several years. So, you know, I had an attorney service. Now I'm retired and I have the time to devote to this endeavor. So I certainly hope that the voters of San Bernardino will put their faith in me and vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
Hello, everyone. My name is Heather Johnson, and I'm running for San Bernardino City Unified School District, to be quite honest, for my students. So currently, I am the lead counselor at San Bernardino Valley College for the First Year Experience Program, where I directly work with students coming out of our K-12 system. And what I saw is that our students were not college career or skills force ready. A lot of our students were coming in not able to do college level English or math, and they were feeling discouraged and they would eventually drop out. So I'm doing this for my students. What makes me qualified is for the past 5.5 years, I have been a counselor at San Bernardino Valley College for the First Year Experience Program, where I work directly with our students. I'm also very active in the community. I'm the faculty advisor for the LGBTQ club on campus. I am also the part of the BIT team, so behavioral intervention team. And I am also a part of the exec team for Academic Senate, where I'm the chair for the Equal Employment Opportunities Program that we have there on campus. I'm dedicated, and then I also have my educational background. So I have a master's in educational counseling that focuses on K through 16 education. And I'm also currently working on my doctorate. I'm a doctoral candidate for the Leadership in Educational Justice at University of Redlands. So this is all about the students. Currently, I've had endorsements from the California Democratic Party in San Bernardino, Planned Parenthood, and the California High School Democrats. Thank you all.
Thank you. And Ms. Rodgers.
Thank you. Thank you to the League of Women Voters. My name is Gwen Dowdy Rodgers. As you mentioned, I am the current president of the San Bernardino City Unified School District Board of Education. I'm an alumni of San Bernardino High School as well as San Bernardino Valley College. My undergraduate work was in social work and my graduate work was in management and human resource management. My employment background is 20 years of corporate finance and 10 years currently now with the county working with foster youth with mental health needs. I am also the president of Arrowhead United Way, and I serve on numerous boards. Currently, I am the co-chair of the San Bernardino Gangs and Drugs Task Force, the co-chair of the San Bernardino County African American Awareness Subcommittee, member of the San Bernardino Police African American Advisory Committee, delegate, and a legislative committee member of the California School Board Association. I was appointed to the Board of Education in 2014 and elected in 2015 with a platform of parent engagement, fiscal accountability, transparency, and equity for all. During the 5 years together with the board, we have reached a 93% graduation rate, and I was instrumental also in developing a parent engagement strategic plan, a counseling plan, as well as the need for the wellness centers, an African American initiative funding for our academic achievement improvement, and bringing a resolution, which I'm very proud about, to declare the last 2 weeks of 2 months youth voter education, which this past Tuesday is now a policy, just to name a few things. And I want to remain on the Board of Education because there's still more work to be done, especially around closing the equity gap. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ceballos?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you everybody for joining, and thank you Women League of Voters. What makes me a great candidate to represent you and your students through this position is my experience carving my own path through the difficult educational system as a former SBC USD student and now parent of a student with disabilities. I know what students and parents in this community need and the challenges that they face because I grew up in this community facing those same challenges. When I was 16 years old, I dropped out of high school because the system failed me. I was misplaced in an emotionally disturbed class in 7th grade here in the district. And because my parents were either too busy working or because they did not have the resources, skills, knowledge, or language necessary to advocate for me, I spent the entire year in an all-day special education class without ever even being a special education student. Talk about an egregious oversight. As you can imagine, this mistake costed me a lot and put me at a huge disadvantage from my peers. As a result, and not surprisingly, I became a teen parent. With the grace of God and the help of many people along the way, I was able to obtain a high school diploma from Job Corps in Muscoy and found my way into the community college system. Despite being a single parent on welfare, I graduated UCR with high honors, double majoring in political science and sociology. This made me first in my family to graduate high school and college. I am now at Cal State San Bernardino in my last year of my EDS program to become a school psychologist. I am bilingual in Spanish, which is really important given that 76% of our students in San Bernardino identify as Hispanic Latino. I am more than qualified for this position because I have demonstrated dedication, resiliency, integrity, and the ability to effectively advocate for myself and my child. I am an educated Latina who profoundly understands the multiple barriers young adults face entering the workforce, regardless of whether they have a college degree or not. I will bring a fresh new perspective with diverse views. I am a returning candidate, and one of the biggest criticisms I faced then and still face today is that I am too young or lacking experience in my time's up.
Thank you. Dr. Hill.
Thank you, Dr. Garcia. I just want to say thanks to the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this event for us to get together and share with you why we want to do what we're doing. I've been on the school board for 9 years. I worked in the school district for 32 years. I was an adjunct professor at the University of Redlands as well as Cal State San Bernardino. And I was assistant superintendent for San Bernardino County Schools for 6 years. It was while I was at San Bernardino County Schools that I attended on a little more regular basis the school board meetings and was not altogether happy with what I saw. So, but I used to tell my students, if you don't like what's going on, do something about it. So I ran for office, and I have enjoyed working with the students, the parents, the staff members. I know Ms. Rodgers mentioned it, but having one of the highest graduation rates as well as college going rates, we have students who at San Bernardino Valley College, Cal State San Bernardino, but we have many students out of state doing an outstanding job. I want to remain on this board, and the reason I'm running because the work's not done. And of course, with distance learning, that's the monkey wrench that was thrown in that we don't know exactly how to fix, but it's exciting as we look back at Brown versus Board of Education of 1954 and giving us a chance to provide equity for all students. So that's my main reason for running. We do not have any throwaway students. Every student is valuable, every student is important, and every student is capable. We just want them all to reach their capabilities. We are not satisfied with 93% graduation rate. We're looking for 100. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, thank you all. We have several questions for you to answer. You'll have 1 minute for each question, and we'll rotate the order in which the candidates speak. The first question is this. Educators have embarked on a new school year complicated by the COVID-19 pandemic and distance learning playing a critical role in students' education. How will you as a board member help bridge the digital divide that is faced by our students? And there's a second part of this question too. We asked some AP government students at Pacific High School if they had any questions for you. This is a question from Arlie Canizales, a senior at Pacific High. And she says, how will your decision to return to in-school learning be made? So this is a two-part question for a minute, I know. Ms. Campbell, you're the first one to answer. Oh, you're not.
Okay, is he gonna unmute us or do we unmute ourselves? I'm not really sure. Okay. I would have done things a little differently. San Bernardino City Schools has, they were already ahead of the curve with having the laptops. But I also would have had different care packages for them, earphones. We know that we have a high poverty level in our community. I would have had headphones, pencils, and papers, and put it in a box. Sometimes I would do that for the homeless students. You put it in a box, and then that box serves as a desk. And students will go and they're resilient. When you have all the things that they need, a little pencil sharpener, it would not have cost much more to put more than just satisfying the district's need by providing the laptops and the hotspots. But to put like little headphones for the noise, we know that life goes on. So I would have done a little more. I would have been willing to go and stand when they gave out the laptops to make sure the students had what they needed.
Thank you. Mr. Gallo?
Yes, thank you. Closing the digital divide, as far as I know, we were the first and we're one of few districts who actually provided every single one of our students with a laptop or Chromebook and complete internet access for free. Headphones are available, supportive equipment is available, and that is unique in California. Now, regarding the returning to school, my proposal has been to provide parents with choices. Some parents may never feel comfortable reporting to going into school. Other parents feel comfortable doing that now. Same with our staff and teachers. I would propose that we actually initiate a program that gives parents choices to start school under appropriate precautions, et cetera, as well as maintain distance learning.
Thank you. And Ms. Capps? Where'd she go? There she is. Ms. Tressy Capps?
There, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so as you can see for that split screen, I'm having my own distance learning issues just participating in this forum. So I can only imagine how difficult it is for the parents out there. I heard on the board meeting that 2 hours to take attendance, and that is quite a bridge to divide. So anyways, there's a lot of work to be done, and I agree with Mr. Gallo that a hybrid model is what I would recommend as far as how the decision should be made, because there are going to be a lot of parents who aren't ready, and there are some who are ready now. And so give parents a choice. And I just think that that it's a difficult thing for sure, and it's going to take a lot of collaboration. And I'm sure you guys have already done a lot of work, and I can't even imagine how difficult it is for the parents at home. So I feel for them.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
Hi all. So the digital divide is actually one of the cornerstones of my campaign. One of the things that I want to do is to first and foremost make sure that our students and our parents have proper training on how to use the equipment and how to make sure that their students are getting the proper access that they need. It is great that the district has brought in such things as hotspots and laptops, but if you're in a rural area, your hotspot in some cases is not going to work. So we do need to address that. A great example is LA County actually has where they have Wi-Fi hubs for students, so they can go and have Wi-Fi on their blocks for 3 blocks radiuses. That's what I want to do. How can we go back on campus? I am a fan of a hybrid model. So we would make sure, first of all, that we didn't have any cases for 2 weeks, right? Because currently we have 51,000 cases in San Bernardino County, and then do a hybrid model and stagger the students coming in, making sure all constituents are involved, including teachers and parents and staff, and the students as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Hill? No, I'm sorry. Ms. Ceballos. Where'd she go? Ms. Ceballos?
I think it's Ms. Rodgers' turn.
It is, but I will, as she
Oh,
calls.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
We'll
No,
just,
Go ahead.
right there, we'll switch you.
Okay, all right. So again, not to repeat what's been said, but obviously being a leader in the process of this right now, currently in it, was so proud of the district having the foresight, even before I came to the board, to have the engagement of our Khajiits and our laptops, close the digital divide much, much closer to where we would have been had we not done that. So I'm so proud of that. Continued engagement through the parents and having the conversations to continue to train, because it's all new for everyone. And so the more communication that we have with our parents, we will find out what those concerns are. This is a first for everyone. So as we find out what those concerns are, to continue to work on those. And for me, I know people have heard it 1,000 times, but safety is number one. So for our students, for our staff, and for our community, as we close the digital divide with all of the needs of what the parents are requesting and the students to meet those needs, and then coming back in a safe way. Whenever it's safe to do so, that is our motto, and we will continue to stick to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Ceballos. I think you're muted. I think she's still muted. There.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so as Ms. Rodgers says, not to repeat everything that has already been said, but for me, it would definitely have to be hotspots, getting faster connectivity, as already has been mentioned. There's some rural areas, places in Muscoy that, it's patchy. Also food. I know that at the beginning, parents obtained an EBT card, maybe having options to maybe reload that. Giving them the option if they would want that versus going to pick up the food that the district's offering. I know some parents had talked about quality food that's being given out. Sometimes it's being wasted because they go pick it up and they don't eat it at home. Also, maybe opening up more locations throughout the district. I also got a word back from some parents about that. And then also safety is my priority, and also supporting a hybrid model as well. I think once it is safe to return, always having the option for full distance.
Thank you. Dr. Hill?
Thank you. I'm so proud of our staff and our cabinet. I don't know under the circumstances if there anything I would have done differently. I know there's a need for broadwidth, but we have the things that I would like to change, we have no control over. So it's just dealing with what we have. And again, when it comes to returning, and I say it often, when I feel safe, and I am a risk taker, when I feel safe to go into a building and be there for a period of time, then it's safe for all 50,000 of my students to return, because I see all of them as my students. And so I don't feel good about opening the door. And people say young people die all the time. Yes, but I don't want to feel guilty for one person leaving this world, nor one staff member. So when I feel safe, that will be my recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Wyatt?
Thank you so much. In regards to the digital divide, I think one thing we need to remember is that many of our students are better at technology than even some of our staff. So when we talk about professional development and training, we had to make sure that our staff were ready to provide distance learning to our students. So that was one of our biggest challenges, was making sure that our staff were properly trained and continue to be trained in distance learning with current and state-of-the-art professional development. So that was number one. Great one-to-one initiative for Chromebooks. So we've really done a phenomenal job there with bridging that divide as well. But a lot of our folks here already said everything about technology that I would agree with. In regards to transitioning back to in-person education, when it's safe to do so, you hear us say that all the time, and that has to be first and foremost. And then already we're developing hybrid and blended plans, plan A, plan B, plan C. So our parents and our students and our staff all have a choice on how to come back to school. Distance learning is here to stay this year, but we will have alternatives.
Thank you. Our next question is a similar, follows a follow-up on this question about distance learning. How do you, let's see, Mr. Gallo, how do you plan to support special education during distance learning, especially those with specific learning and or behavioral needs? Mr. Gallo, you're first.
Yes, thank you. That has been a clear focus of mine in providing opportunities, very specialized opportunities for our special education students, including down to the moderate to severe folks too. We've actually created one of the more innovative programs across the country in a advanced technology farming initiative that is led by our special education students. In a digital environment, this is all a digitally controlled farm that basically grows vegetables that our students are eating and through our nutritional services department and sold. They run a business, it's operated as a business, and our special education students are actually leading that initiative. There are dozens of those types of opportunities for our special education students, and I propose to continue those.
Thank you. Ms. Capps?
Hi. So I have experience with special education. I raised my nephew for 2 years. He was an IEP student, and I am very aware of the challenges that those children face. It was quite a learning curve for me. So I would work with the things you have set in place now and come up with ideas to improve on them. So I don't know exactly, how I would exactly approach it, but I know with my nephew, it was a full-time job advocating for him, and I would advocate for, to help these kids because they need special help. So if you are a parent of a child that needs extra help, I would advocate for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
Hello, everyone. So what I would do to ensure that students who are have special education or are part of special education, what I would do first and foremost is to ensure that they have one-on-one support. I would also ensure in terms of IEPs, because I've talked to many parents that have stated that when they try to go get an IEP, it's supposed to take 30 days, but it's taking longer or they're not getting a response. So I would ensure that those IEPs that are in place, that parents and students would get a response within 30 days. And then also I would ensure that we had transitional programs. So ensuring like when these students, if they want to go off to college or if they want to go off into skilled work, that we have these programs in place for these students with special needs that ensures that they get to point A to B and that they have someone there that they can connect with. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rodgers?
Thank you. And we do at the district currently have a stellar staff that we stay close engaged with and monitor, and certainly our special needs program leaders are doing a fabulous job. And what we have asked them to do is to present to us, report. As a matter of fact, they just recently reported to us so that we can hear the concerns, make the adjustments that need to adjust. What we saw, they are doing well, but we know that this is an issue across the state and we're not taking it lightly. And even so much for me, and Dr. Hill may mention on this, but we do a conversation with the community, and we will be speaking to our community this coming Saturday to talk to the parents directly to find out what other things we can do better. Because for me, it's a lot of listening right now, and it's a lot of understanding of the needs that are going on inside these homes. And those are the information activities that we take back to our district staff, and they do a great job adhering to those needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ceballos?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question really quickly for me?
Yes. How do you plan to support special education during distance learning, especially those with specific learning and or behavioral needs?
Thank you. Yeah, so special education is an area that is near and dear to my heart because I have a special education student at home. And there are a lot of areas of improvement, and I can talk for days about this, but specifically, I think that the focus for me would be data-driven intervention plans, fidelity of the intervention, monitoring the fidelity and monitoring the progress of the intervention, and being able to modify, up or down if it's working or not. During this time, I know that a lot of students, my son was not getting his RSP support services. So I had to, reach out and kind of complain, if you will. But it's a mixture when we go back to school, because it's not just through this time, but when we go back to school, it's a balance between inclusion and remedial instruction, because what we're finding out is that a lot of our students are getting left behind and they're later qualifying when, sorry.
Thank you. Dr. Hill?
Thank you. I was the principal on a campus where we had a very robust special needs program, from a special day class to, RSP and just all of the above. And I tell you, the most wonderful students you ever want to meet, because whereas there's a need in one area, they excel in another. And one of the things that I hope we continue to do, and we do now, is continue taking a look at our special ed students and where they do excel, as with the gardening program, as with some of the jobs we can get for them, and going through some of the academies. We'll continue to do that. But I'm just hoping with all of our special needs students, and it's unfortunate if just one falls between the cracks, that we will be able to provide the best service, keep IEPs updated, and the staff's doing a great job and much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Wyatt?
Thank you again. This definitely is a question that's near and dear to me. I'm very fortunate to work with students with disabilities in my line of work. I supervise special education programs. So this is absolutely important in regards to how we work with our students. I can't emphasize more the relationship piece with our teachers and our parents and students, and the communication that has to take place every day. In regards to working with our students with behaviors, we're talking a lot about technology, but a lot of our students, they really need hands-on activities and lessons. So it's important that we get those manipulatives and those lessons to the home, not necessarily just technology, but things that will definitely work with our students' behavior. Some of the things that we're doing that are really outstanding and working are virtual tours, designing videos with our students, utilizing Google Classroom, and things like that, to where they are constantly engaged, but really working with our parents, because they're challenged at home as well, working with their sons and daughters along with us during virtual teaching and learning.
Thank you. Ms. Campbell?
I would support, have a built-in system to support the teachers for the special ed students. Also, I found, because I have a granddaughter that's special ed, they become very frustrated quickly when they don't understand it. And I think I'm thinking more about the mother who's working at Amazon, grandma's watching the baby, this special ed student in front of the internet. Grandma really can't help the student. The student becomes frustrated. So I think that you'd have to have something built in also for the parents or the caretakers of the children that of special ed children, something more than we have traditionally given them. So that's where whatever would best support.
Thank you. Thank you all. The next question is, as a school board member, you will be responsible for selecting the new superintendent. Given the past successes and challenges of the district, what 3 qualities will you be seeking in a candidate? And Ms. Capps, you are the first person to answer.
Hi. 3 qualities. Well, number 1 would be integrity, and number 2 would be experience, and number 3, leadership skills. So those would be the three things I'd look for in a candidate for superintendent. I know I had a lot of experience at Etiwanda with Sean Judson. I feel like he is a good leader. We had our disagreements, but yeah, that's what I'd look for: integrity, experience, and leadership.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
Hello. So the three things that I would look for in a superintendent is, first and foremost, I would look for someone that has transparency, right? That has a clear communication with all of our faculty, our staff, with the board, and with the community as a whole. I also want someone that is from our community that understands the needs specifically of San Bernardino, because we are a unique city. I want them to understand that. And last but not least, I would want to ensure that they understood how to make connections, right? How to build partnerships with people within our community. Those are my three main ones. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rodgers?
Okay, I'm unmuted. Okay, definitely for the next, because this is a big and huge agenda that we do have setting the next superintendent, but integrity definitely is high on the list in the area. And I would say integrity comes along with leadership as well as the experience as being in this role, you know, because someone definitely, San Bernardino has a lot of things that a person needs to come with the experience and the background, having worked with a community such as ours. And so the third one is community engagement, which working with diversity in our community and all of our population of students and our family members as well. So those are the top three important categories for me.
Thank you. Ms. Ceballos?
Yeah, so for me, I definitely agree with you know, integrity, empathetic, someone that really is has emotional intelligence, that is able to connect with people and really listen and understand, because that is what we need in this community. We have a lot of obstacles and we have a lot of challenges, and sometimes we're upset. You know, we're angry and not at the person but at the system. And we really need to have an empathetic leader that will be able to connect with us as parents and our students and our staff.
Thank you. Dr. Hill?
Thank you. I would certainly be looking for someone who is a leader, an outstanding leader based on experience, someone who has all the majority of the characteristics that we look for in everybody, including our students, parents, and staff, and someone who can support our motto, making hope happen, and making hope happen for all students. Those are my three.
Thank you. Ms. Campbell? Just a minute. You're muted there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Proven leadership skills in a diverse community such as ours. A critical thinker and someone that's transparent. I know we all want to, everyone wants to feel like they're doing a good job, but we need to be honest about if we're doing a good job or not. Parents want the truth. If you're honest with them about what's happening, if those 93% of students are college or career ready, I think that we just need leadership that's going to be transparent with the community and ethical. Well, my first three are, you know, being able to work with the diverse community, proven leadership to work within our community.
Thank you. Mr. Gallo?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I've been through this process with San Bernardino City Unified School District, as has Dr. Hill. And we selected just a fabulous superintendent during that effort. It was a great strategic approach to things. And we outlined from everyone, community, staff, the board, you name it, our union leaders, et cetera, what characteristics we would like to see superintendent. My top three are demonstrated leadership, a commitment to our community, and that may even involve living here within our community, and a heart for our students.
Thank you. Next question is, what is a school board member's role and responsibility, and how does that role differ from the role of the superintendent or administrator?
Excuse me, Dr. Wyatt did not answer that last question.
Oh, well, I don't know why, because I crossed his name off. I'm sorry. Thank you for calling that to my attention. Dr. Wyatt, would you answer that last question?
It would be my pleasure, and thank you. I'm sure because I talk too much sometimes. First of all, I just want everybody to know we have the highest expectations for our next superintendent, and we want the absolute best for our city and our kids and our community. Let me just say that right now. It's a very difficult decision, as Mr. Gallo said. I'm looking for a superintendent who's culturally relevant and culturally sensitive to our area. We obviously have a very multicultural district, and so that person has to have those skill sets. As we've heard already, a proven effective leader with a track record of success as well. We want to see a person that's been a demonstrated leader who's been successful and not take a chance on somebody maybe it hasn't been. And then a person that has a clear vision of our mission and where we want to go with our district. I think we have an outstanding strategic plan and outstanding programs. So the individual coming in here has to be able to have the capacity and the vision to ensure that we meet those goals and what we're planning to do for our kids. And then I'm along with Mr. Gallo. I believe this person here should be hopefully from our community or wants to live and be in our community. And that's what I'm looking for.
Thank you. And now to that next question. What is a school board member's role and responsibility, and how does that role differ from the role of the superintendent or administration? The first person answering is Ms. Johnson.
Right. So the role of the school board member is to really set direction, right? To hear the community's needs. We're also there to establish an effective and efficient structure, as long as well as providing support for the faculty, the staff, and the students. We are the voice of the community. While the superintendent, they put out that vision, right? They put out the vision of the school board and the community, and they also take care of the day-to-day matters such as financials and things of that nature. The school board, on the other hand, takes care of the bigger picture and also works with the superintendent to ensure that the vision is doing what we need to do, is doing what the school board needs to do, is doing what the community needs as a whole.
Thank you. Ms. Rodgers.
Thank you. We, as the Board of Education, are the governing board. We set policy and we do oversight, ensuring that we are being fiscally responsible with the funding and making sure whatever the needs of the students in that district are being met. The superintendent, however, is the engine that makes sure it gets done. He is our one employee, so we provide that guidance and direction, and then that superintendent carries it out and ensures that whatever the direction that has been set, the work is getting done, and then he reports to us and we engage together. What I've liked about this board is we work well hand in hand with the superintendent. It's not a us against them, but it's a we, and we ultimately work together and respect the role of the superintendent.
Thank you. Ms. Ceballos.
Yeah, so it's been pretty much said, but I will echo. So yeah, basically the role of the board is to set, a vision, goals, adopt policies, hire the superintendent, and evaluate, basically the district's performance. We are the people, the governing body that have been entrusted by the constituents to ensure that the money is, being spent in the areas that it's meant to be spent, and that we are providing our students with the best quality education and meeting their needs, meeting them where they're at. The superintendent, as mentioned, is the man in charge of making all of that happen, with all district employees working collaboratively with everyone in setting putting those visions in motion.
Thank you. Dr. Hill?
Thank you. And a lot has been said, but I also want to include, as board members, we do set policy, and we do we have oversight over finances, because we want to make sure our schools are run as smoothly as possible, and our students get the best possible education. So we make sure that we hire a superintendent who understands his role, which is to make sure textbooks, material, digital items and things of that nature that we need, so that we can always be on the forefront of education. His superintendent will also oversee his cabinet, all of the 70+ schools that we have in the district, to make sure things are run smoothly on a daily basis. And the other thing that we pride ourselves, always having a superintendent who's a good listener. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Wyatt?
Well, I'm going to echo a lot of what's been said already, but the board's responsible for setting policy and setting the direction and driving the direction of our school district, obviously to ensure fiscal stability of our district, so we can do all those great things. And then also be a voice and a representative of our community. That's really one of our biggest responsibilities, is ensuring that we're the voice and representatives of our community. As for our superintendent, plain and simple, he's our leader, or she's our leader. Let me say that. The superintendent's our leader and is responsible to ensure that our district and our staff provide the highest level of service to our students and our community. So that's what it is. You know, we're there, and as Ms. Rodgers said earlier, it is a we. Often we say that when an executive cabinet, the superintendent, the school board work collaboratively together and are in coherence, anything is possible. And we've proven that over the last 5 years that I've been here and years before that. So we've been very effective by doing so and being a team approach, a we approach, and not divided, but together.
Thank you. Ms. Campbell? Still muted. Yeah.
Okay. The board's job is to set policy and procedure for the district. And I think we've already noted that this, the superintendent is the only employee that the board supervises. But I believe that they should also listen to the community. That's how you know if the policies and procedures that you voted on are being followed. Policies and procedures, and the superintendent.
Thank you. Mr. Gallo?
Yes, thank you. The board's responsibility is, as was articulated before, setting strategic direction, fiscal oversight, as well as basically managing our one employee, which is the superintendent. And it's also really to look at performance evaluations and see that it's actually moving the dial. When I first got on this board, we had a 65.5% graduation rate. Last year, we ended up with well over 93% graduation rate. That's been in 9 years. That's a tremendous accomplishment that is basically the board and demonstration that it's working well together with the superintendent to implement strategic direction with a clear focus on performance and outcomes.
Thank you. Ms. Capps?
Okay, hi. So yes, I've watched so many board meetings at Etiwanda, and yes, they set policy and they vote on budget matters, and that's important. But what's also important is that as a board member, I would question things and not just rubber stamp whatever's set before me. So when I watched your meeting the other night, I was very impressed with your board member that had questions of items on the consent calendar and pulled those aside. And I would be that kind of board member that would just question things, not just blindly, everything set in front of me. So that's, and of course, working with the superintendent, you want to have a good relationship. So that I would definitely strive for. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question, this is another question from a student at Pacific High School. Senior Madison Diaz asked, what is your role in shaping the future of San Bernardino's youth? What should our school district do to better prepare students to be college or career ready? Ms. Rodgers, you're the first person.
Thank you so much. So one thing I'm very proud of and hasn't been mentioned, we have student board members, and that happened within the last 5 years, and that is giving them the opportunity to sit with us as board members and engage and speak on behalf of their student body. And I think it's important that for the next upcoming in careers and what's out there coming up in the future is listening to the voice of our students, which we have done. We have a lot of career pathways, which I don't think has been mentioned as well. And in those career pathways, it has been engaging the students and seeing what are the things that they want to do and what do they like for the future and see themselves doing. We know that not all students are going to go to college. However, I'm a big advocate of college, but there are careers that our students are interested in. And currently right now, we're hearing a lot about entrepreneurship. And so I can't wait to explore and hear what our students is wanting to do and hear their voice and get our student board member back on our Board of Education so they can represent the students. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ceballos?
And I'm so sorry, can you please repeat the question?
Yes. What is your role in shaping the future of San Bernardino's youth? And what should our school district do to better prepare students to be college or career ready?
Yeah, thank you. So we have a huge role and responsibility that we play in shaping our students and either giving them the resources necessary that they're gonna need in life. So yes, we have high graduation rates, but you know, how many of those students that are graduating at the level that they're supposed to be to enter a college, campus? We are hearing from Ms. Johnson of students entering the community college system that are, not ready and prepared. So I would challenge that. And then also, we need to make sure that we need to be involved outside just of the school district and into the bigger, broader community, because we want to make sure that we have jobs available here in our city for our students, whether they want to go to college or get a shorter vocational career pathway. So our role does not start and end at the school board.
Thank you. Dr. Hill.
Thank you. One of the things that we're doing right now, as mentioned, we have students on our school board. They attend and they vote and they share their opinions. We also have a student advisory group. And this is a group of students from all of the high schools. They come together and it's their meeting. They tell us, the challenges and their concerns. And we even have a group of students that participate with 32 other districts in the county, and they come together at the end of the year. So one of the things we need to do is continue listening to our students, and when they share their concerns and what they feel will be good for them. I think the other thing is the show and tell. We get them to the college campuses. We have a lot of college events on campus. We work very closely with Dr. Rodriguez. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
Dr. Wyatt.
All right, thank you very much. Wow, in regards to the college and career readiness, that's a huge one for me. We're looking at starting kids to think about their careers early in their education, even in third grade. And one of the things we wanted was for kids when they get into middle school, when they leave middle school, they have a couple of different certifications. They're soft skills certified. They have a career in mind when they leave middle school. And then when they get into high school, they're starting to look at one of our 52 career pathways, which we have 26 industry level certifications. So we are definitely doing an amazing job. And I challenge any district out there to meet the number of career pathways that we have in this district. So we are definitely doing a great job there. We're looking at other fields. We have kids that are in Explorer programs, ROTC programs. We also have kids that are working in apprenticeships and internships, even within our own district. So we're giving the real life skills employment skills, and they're being employed by us. And I just like to say, I know those programs are effective because my son's in the cybersecurity pathway, and it's absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Ms. Campbell?
Okay, I would start to look at some of the students that aren't a part of the club. So when I talk about the students in San Bernardino, far too many of them are not connected with the clubs and with different organizations. There was an example of a young man that got a job at Stater Brothers, and then one got a job at Amazon. The one at Stater Brothers, he walked right into his benefits. Amazon doesn't have those same benefits. I would partner with the city. The companies that come into our community, I think that we need to look at the community and how they have to pay their share, not just come in here. We know how to make, we know how to cook. We have people lined up all around the city of San Bernardino in carts cooking. So I think we need to go that extra step and combine with the city and see what the organizations coming in, what they can do for us.
Thank you. Mr. Gallo?
Yes, thank you. This is really why I ran for the school board back in 2011. Some of you may know I've formed a company called Technical Employment Training, Inc. that basically it's got a vision and a direction that I've been pushing at the state level for about the last 10 years in conjunction with Link Learning, Irvine Foundation, number of other employees, hundreds and hundreds of employers, et cetera. It provides a comprehensive curriculum, which we do pretty well in our district. Everything we do has a nationally recognized industry valued credential or certification associated with it. It's all done in an on-the-job training environment, which you gain on-the-job training experience as you're going through the instructional material. And then the fourth key thing that we need to incorporate is a career and college placement entity right inside the district. And they take responsibility for actual placement. TET has 100% placement rate.
Thank you. Ms. Capps?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I would think students need to learn real life skills, which include budgeting. Both of my sons got debt-free degrees, but college is not the right path for everyone. So, you know, whatever career that is that student chooses, however they get the training, it's important when they get done with school that they are not in debt, because that's no way to start your adult life, and start teaching them how to budget in school. So that should be something the kids need to learn, the value of not getting debt. So.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
Hello all. So one of the hallmarks of my campaign is actually I want to create a secondary to post-secondary bridge program for our students so that they are college and career ready. As I said earlier in my opening, although we do have high graduation rates, our students are not college and career ready. They're not ready for college math or English when they come to me in the first year experience program. So that's what I want to do. I want to create a funds of knowledge approach for our students. So we know what the parents know, what the students know, what our teachers know, and the community as a whole knows, and create a program so our students are ready by the time they graduate to either go into the skilled workforce or go into college. I was recently, I got the endorsement from the California High School Democrats, and what they told me is they want their voices amplified. They want their voices heard, and that's what I would do. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next question is about the San Bernardino School District has its own police force, as you all know. What is the ideal role for the school police? And Ms. Ceballos, you are first.
Yes. So I've been thinking about this particular topic long and hard, especially during these times. And I have had conversations with community members and parents of you know, that question. And personally, for me, I feel that our schools are not prisons. We are not there to guard students. It already kind of feels a little, detached with the whole lunch number, and we don't need additional policing. I do understand, though, that we do need safety in our campuses. And so, just even the uniform that they wear on campus. I remember when I was at Arroyo Valley, I was intimidated just to see the police on campus. I didn't know if they were going to arrest me, So just creating that environment and that culture, I think we can do better in that.
Thank you. Dr. Hill?
Unless you want to do Ms. Rodgers.
Pardon me?
I'm after Ms. Ceballos. Okay, I must be falling asleep. Okay, I'm ready.
All right.
I am so proud of our police department, not because they're there to take students away when they do bad things, but for all the good things they do. We have the Explorers program, probably one of the best in the state. And those kids are absolutely wonderful. They go on to go into law enforcement or go into the military and go into law enforcement. They give out positive tickets. And the other good thing that I like about them, because I live near a middle school, and when things get kind of out of hand, because sometimes as parents, we forget to pull on the side and we stop in the middle of the street and create a little bit of a chaos there. And I can call school police to say, you might want to monitor this school for a couple of days. And I know the city police can't do that. So I just feel good knowing our kids are safe 24/7. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Wyatt?
All righty, thank you. I am in agreement. I think we have an absolutely amazing school police department. And the number one thing that has been a priority for me is the idea of community policing, where our officers are not necessarily officers, but they're out there part of the community, and they're peace officers. Now, obviously, peace officers, they're there to establish peace, and I want them to be role models, not seen as the enemy. And I think that's something that we've emphasized to the school police department to build that relationship. And as my colleagues have said, we have one of the biggest and best Explore programs in our city with our school police department, where we've seen kids go through it and end up working for us, which is absolutely amazing. And then really proud of the board citation policy that we wrote to eliminate and reduce the school to prison pipeline, which we're giving out like over 1,500 citations. Now we're down to a couple hundred a year. And then I will say this, I appreciate them enforcing traffic safety around our schools. We don't have our local city police department around, but we have our school police department to ensure we have traffic safety around our schools.
Thank you. Ms. Campbell?
I'm going to answer the question just like you. Yes, the role of the school police officer is to keep the campus and the property safe. That's as much as I know about it.
All right. Is that Mr. Gallo?
Yes, thank you. I'm also very, very proud of our police officers, and they have adopted a community policing strategy. I've been, it's been my pleasure to observe them in action. I've seen them initiate de-escalation techniques that are taking hostile students. There's been parents, there's been angry community members that are assaulting students on campus, et cetera. It's a whole host of the issues and problems that you see reflected in many urban areas. And I've seen these police officers treat people always with respect, de-escalate the kind of tensions, and resolve these most often without incident. And just being able to talk to them, et cetera, talk to people. So I think we have initiated a community policing strategy, and I'm very proud of our officers.
Thank you. Ms. Capps?
Hear me? Hi. Okay, so I had the privilege of meeting Chief Paulino when I when I participated in the Neighborhood Leadership Academy. It was the first class in the city. I've only lived here for a year and a half, so I was so impressed with him, and I can only imagine the job they have with a school district this large. So I don't know enough about it hands-on, but having met the chief, I'm very confident with a person like that in the leadership position that they're doing a good job. But just to make sure that the kids feel like the police are there to help them, not hurt them, which I'm guessing he does that. So just to, you know, have it be very clear that it's not them versus the kids, that they're there to safeguard the kids.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
So the role of our school police is first and foremost keep our students, staff, and our property safe, like others have mentioned. But also, y'all, we need to look at what trainings are they having, right? We need our school officers to have training such as implicit bias training, microaggression training, and discrimination training, things of that nature, so they know how to properly serve our communities and serve our students. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Rodgers?
Thank you, and I agree. A lot has been said in reference to our police department, which is another role of the board to make sure that we're governing the police department in connection. But the ultimate role is to keep the peace and to provide safety for all. We know that sometimes there are some challenges on campuses, and I would never want to put any of our staffs in harm's way. And therefore, that's when they step in, and it is their role to step in to keep the peace and provide the safety that's needed. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question has to do with fiscal responsibilities, which some of you have already talked about, but what experience do you have with complicated budgets? When you are given a budget for the district, what will be the process to determine if it's a good budget for the system? And the first person is Dr. Hill.
Thank you so much. We have budget workshops all the time, and fortunately we have 2 or 3 people on the board now who's knowledgeable, so we can be thankful for that. But it's getting materials ahead of time, studying it, and whereas we may not ask a lot of questions about the budget, it's because we all have a cabinet member that we can talk to and ask questions ahead of time. So we get our information ahead of time. We look over if there are any concerns or what have you. The person assigned to us would call and say, is it anything you need to know or you want us to verify for you? And we do that. So we have a lot of hands-on people that to provide us with a lot of information about the budget. So we're pretty much, with our workshops, we're pretty much set.
Thank you. Dr. Wyatt?
Thank you very much. And just to echo what Dr. Hill said, we absolutely are very involved with our budget as board members. And I do bring experience as an administrator over school programs that we definitely have to make sure we're fiscally responsible from year to year. Most importantly, you know, we have an outstanding CBO as well that works for our organization, and she constantly has her department communicating with us. And we look at 5-year budget projections, which I think is critical, especially right now with the COVID pandemic. We need to be, we're fiscally secure with strong reserves going into the next 3 years. But I think we have an outstanding team in regards to our business department, and you know, they are open with us, and we believe in transparency to our community. So our community knows exactly where our money is being spent, how it's being spent, and what we're planning for the future.
Thank you. Ms. Campbell?
I was very fortunate to be a founding board member for Hardy Brown College Prep, which is part of the Fortune School of Education. And with that being the first school, we had budget workshops. We had an attorney that explained to us from A to Z the codes, what funding you can use for this and whatever. And because I was the parent rep on that board, they took the time to explain to me And I have questions. I've had plenty of questions because they were coming out of Sacramento, and I wanted to understand the language as it applied to San Bernardino. So I've gone through budget workshops, and I don't have a problem asking questions that I want answers to when it's something I don't understand. I never, feel myself to know everything. But the one thing that I do like that I know how to ask and expect an answer.
Thank you. Mr. Gallo?
Yes, thank you. I'll tell you what I did when I first ran for the school board. We didn't have a budget committee. I called for the budget committee. I was named as chairman. And what we did over the next 12 weeks was to peel back all 1,200 and something pages of the budget in public and go through line by line by line with the community, with every one of the labor unions, any staff, parents, you name it. And that was the first year that we ever had a unified budget. Everybody agreed on it. This is a process of involving people in the decisions that we make that affect their lives. It's just respect. And it helps us all understand the details, and we do it, and we established dashboards and other metrics that would see how we're actually performing. And so that's why you see very little questions going on now.
Thank you. Ms. Capps?
Hi, can you still see me?
No?
Oh, no. Oh my goodness.
I hear you.
Okay, I don't know what happened. Hold on, there we go. Can you see me now?
Yes.
Okay. Anyways, so as it relates to budget, number one, your personal budget, my personal budget is in great condition. And so I've overseen other budgets. I've studied budgets. When I was working with Etowanda to bring their busing back, I was able to read those budgets, and, they were selling they weren't exactly honest about how much they had. So it's important to be able to read those things. I worked on a $1.8 billion toll lane. I opposed toll lane projects at SBCTA. And it's important that you have all that, that you can understand those documents, and I definitely can. So when I was trying to bring the busing back in Etowanda, I could see very clearly they had the money, even though they were telling the parents that they didn't have the money. So yeah, budget is a big thing with me. I'm a very frugal person.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
So in my personal experience, as the first year experience counselor, I work with my director to ensure that our students have all the books that they need. So they have a $300 book limit, they get a Chromebook, and they also get supplies. Even now during budget cuts due to COVID-19, I have ensured that our students still get these things during this crisis that we're going through. I would ensure with our budget that we had transparency, right? So that our parents understand what is actually going on in our budget, what are we doing, and how do we make sure that they understand the process. That would be one of my biggest things. And I'd also make sure that we're fiscally responsible. That's imperative, that our funds are going to actually what they say that they're going to.
Thank you. Ms. Rodgers?
And again, it is important. As a board member, you're looking at the budget. That's one of the biggest things there is. And whether you have years and years experience, it's about being prepared. You can't come to a board meeting the night of expecting, to know what's going on. So it takes preparation. And as was mentioned before, there's workshops, transparency, and anticipation of what could happen. Look at where we are now in COVID. If we weren't fiscally responsible prior to this, we'd be in a bigger mess than where a lot of people are. So it's being prepared and knowing and looking and digging in that information and asking questions until you get the answer you're satisfied with. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Ceballos?
And I'm so sorry, Ms. Dowdy Garcia. I'm going to ask you to repeat.
I know. It's been a while since I asked it. What experience do you have with complicated budgets? When you are given a budget for the district, what will be the process to determine if it's a good budget for the system?
Yes, so I have tons of experience with my own budget. As a single parent, I have had to really manage my money. And I am really happy to announce that I will be graduating Cal State San Bernardino this year with no debt. That is impressive. So I'm really proud of that, if you can't tell. But anyway, I definitely understand the importance of really, I know how to stretch my buck, and I know, the things that how to maneuver. And if there's something I don't know, I'm not shy to ask and get more information. I am a quick learner. And I'm already doing that. I'm already asking those questions as a parent through the CAC, Community Advisory Committee for Special Education, the SSE, for the school site council. So we're already looking at some of those things, and I'm asking questions. So I would say it won't be much different, just on a bigger scale.
Thank you. And your next question is, with many more San Bernardino residents losing their homes due to unemployment, COVID-19, and other issues, homelessness of students becomes more prevalent. How would you address this problem, and what additional resources would you bring to the table? And Dr. Wyatt, I think you're first on that.
Thank you, Dowdy. Well, what a sensitive and emotional topic when we talk about homelessness and what's happening in the United States and in our city and our communities right now with the COVID pandemic. And, I think we have outstanding programs in regards to working with our homeless students. We all, and they're known as McKinney-Vento students. And, but we need to do more. Let me just say that. And the only way we could do more, though, is by really involving and incorporating our local politicians at a higher level, because it comes down to funding. And we have some great local politicians that work with our homeless population, work with us as a school district to provide clothing, shelter, food for our families. It's not just our kids, but our families. So continue to work closely with them. As you saw, we just had a shelter for men open recently in our city. So it's something we can't do alone. It's all about relationships and partnerships and working with our local constituents on developing as many programs as we can for the homeless right now.
Thank you. Ms. Campbell? You're muted.
Little sign keeps popping up saying they're going to do it. The last 20 years that I worked for San Bernardino City Schools, that's what I did. When you ask what I'm going to do, until you have the conversation with the family, there are a lot of programs, like Dr. Wyatt mentioned, a lot of things out here. But once it takes having that one-on-one conversation with the families to see what it is they need and how to provide services. One example, when you have a high school student, they don't want to see their parent come and pick up a bag of food and go across campus with a bag of food. So we developed Stater Brothers gift cards. Then we found clothes that were new and not used. So my answer to that is, I don't know, because I need to know what the people know. And that's how you direct your services when it comes to populations like that.
Thank you. Mr. Gallo?
Yes, I'm part of the county's homeless task force advisory that was formed with Philip Mangano, who was the White House Interagency Council on Homelessness for 2 past presidents. I've spoken at Harvard and USC as a fellow to talk about my launch initiative, which is moving people from dependency to prosperity along a continuum of stages, starting with stabilized housing, wraparound supportive services, triaging into education and training opportunities, and then placement into demand occupations within our region. It's a holistic solution, and it's treating our homeless as individuals, not as statistics. And so we've been identified, we have had tremendous success, first with our veteran populations, now with chronic homelessness, and we just need to expand it.
Thank you. Ms. Capps?
Hi, can you
Where
hear
did
me?
she go?
I'm here. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. Okay, so I've worked with some homeless people before, and it's a very difficult place to be. Um, I think the most important thing is to get these families the resources they need, whether it be vouchers, and treat individually, deal with these homeless people in the best way possible. So whether, like I said, whether that be vouchers or just getting them with the resources, like connecting those two together. So it's a difficult situation, but it's not impossible.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
So as we know, students who experience housing insecurity, they're going to also have issues at school because they are not having the basic housing. Their needs are not being met. If you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right, their basic needs are not being met. What I would propose is we need to make sure that we expand our wraparound services like others have talked about in terms of social workers, social services that provide resources for our families and for our students. Because what tends to happen is our students do not want to speak up, or our parents do not want to speak up due to shame or due to issues that they have, and then they end up in the same situation that they're in. So I'm a big fan of wraparound services to ensure that our students get their basic needs met so they can thrive in school. Because for many students, especially now, school is their safe haven. And right now, since we are in COVID and we are digital, they do not have that safe haven. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rodgers.
Thank you. And as mentioned, we do have a specialized team within the district, and that, again, supporting them, ensuring the support there. But for me too, is connecting with our county partners to extend more support, because we know that homelessness is a big issue for the entire city. And so when we looked at bringing wellness centers to our sites, I think that's another connection that we can have those supports and those teams of individuals that can reach out. But last but not least, I think the training for our teachers as well, to know what to do when they have identified that there is a homeless student. How do we do that in a sensitive way and provide the supports that is needed? Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ceballos.
Yes. So homelessness is a big issue and a very unfortunate one. I have myself personal experience with that. We lived in a shelter for about a year in my childhood. So unfortunately, homelessness is tied to mental health. And it has been a problem for the last 60 or so years. So we know that much. So it's really important to provide, mental health support for our students in the school. Reach out to local politicians, but also nonprofit organizations in our community that are already getting themselves involved in trying to participate in solving, the homelessness situation. I know that, and I don't know if I'm allowed to mention the organization, but there's an organization that I just, came across that opened a homeless shelter, and so looking into those more closely.
Thank you. Dr. Hill.
Thank you. And yes, we do have a homeless problem. And with our students, they're still our students, and they deserve what all others have. And I'm just so thankful to the Atlas program. We're so concerned with our homeless and foster youth that we have a department that's dedicated to make sure they have the services that's needed. But this is also the time that we have to think outside the box and go outside the box and deal with agencies. And as a board member, I feel it's important to be out there to know what's going on. And for that reason, we serve on many of the boards that we do with the police department, the sheriff's department, county agencies, so that we know what those resources are and we can bring them back to the school so that we can provide those services to our young people who are just as deserving as anyone else. Thank you.
Thank you. And your last 1-minute question is, do you support or oppose Proposition 15 and why? And the first person answering is Ms. Campbell.
Could you tell me what Proposition 15 is?
Proposition 15 is the schools and communities first proposition.
Okay, I don't know enough about it to say whether or not
That's
whether or
right.
not I support it.
Okay. Mr. Gallo?
Yes, I'd have to look at it closer. From what I understand, it's basically increasing property taxes to cover additional school funding for schools and other entities. I'm in favor of propositions that actually target the investments. If it's for schools, say what is it for, and what is the point, and what are the specific targeted areas with performance metrics that we want to see achieved by that. I'm not in favor of propositions that just tax the people, put it into a general fund, and then have no accountability for actually seeing performance increase in whatever area that they're asking for the funds for.
Thank you. Ms. Capps?
Hi. Okay, so I am very fiscally conservative, like I talked about before. So I oppose Proposition 15. Thank you. It's a tax.
Ms. Johnson?
Hello all, I'm in full support of Prop 15. What it does is that it takes commercial taxes and it's going to do those taxes based on the current value versus what they were when the people first bought that commercial property. It is imperative. As someone that works for a first year experience program, those funds will help the program that I am currently working for, right? It will help the students get what they need, especially now. So I'm in full support of Prop 15. It will help not only our K through 12 system, but also our community college system as well. So yes on 15.
Thank you. Ms. Rodgers?
Thank you. Yes, based on the information that I have definitely heard on Prop 15 and been educated on, it is going to support funding for our education system. And we know right now that there is a need for education to have more funding so our students can get off the bottom of the list in California. And so anything that will push that forward, but also watching to ensure that we be accountable to what we said we were going to do in the proposition. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ceballos?
Yes, I will be voting yes on Proposition 15 this November 3rd for the reasons mentioned. It will be a tax on commercial and industrial properties, and it will be money that we will be so desperately needing in the upcoming years, especially with this pandemic. So yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Hill?
Yes, thank you. I will also be supporting Proposition 15. It's not that I love paying taxes, but I love for our children to get a good education, that we have good facilities, that we can accommodate our teachers and materials and things of that nature. So I'm supporting it, again, not because I want to pay more taxes, but I know that that's what we do. So we'll continue doing that, and hopefully get our education where it should be. Again, I spoke earlier about Brown versus Board of Education, but the equity still is not there. And I think this is another way to make sure that all students will have access to equality. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Wyatt?
I'm going to echo some of what my colleagues have said here, and I'm definitely not one to want to have to pay more taxes and ask folks to pay more taxes. But you know, as I've heard already, this COVID-19 pandemic is absolutely devastating our economy, and it's going to have a disastrous impact on our funding in the next couple of years. A lot of folks may not know that, but we have to plan ahead, and if we don't, we're not going to have the revenue to maintain what we have right now. Our state's one of the lowest funded states in regards to education per pupil spending, and there's a reason for that. And so when we look at taxing commercial property through Prop 15, it's definitely something that I am supporting, and I think will be valuable to our educational programs, but there definitely has to be accountability there. We need to ensure how the money is being spent, that it's going directly to education, and how we're spending it.
Thank you. And now, for the closing statements, each candidate will have 2 minutes for closing remarks. You may want to address any issues that have come up tonight. We will go in the same order as the opening statements, because to reverse it would allow one candidate to have both the first and the last word. Dr. Wyatt, you are the first one. 2 minutes on closing remarks.
Well, again, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity, and what a wonderful experience this has been with our colleagues here. And I have the ultimate respect for everybody that's here, because anybody that's here on this screen right now that's running for office cares about our city and cares about our kids. I will say it's been an honor and a privilege to be a school board member for the city of San Bernardino and the San Bernardino City School District. I'll say this, going through the pandemic that we're going through, this is the worst time ever in our generation. And it's taught me a lot. There's no substitute for experience, let me say that. You know, I've been a lifelong educator, and I thought I knew quite a bit. But coming into this pandemic has taught me that I have a lot more to learn. And I've learned a lot by being a board member as well for the last 5 years. And I think that's extremely valuable moving through this and moving out of the pandemic. I'm going to stay steady to where I have for the last 5 years. And my initiatives are to increase parent engagement, to increase the accountability and level services of our special education services, to continue to offer quality CTE and ROP programs, to ensure coming out of this COVID-19 that our mental health services are increased. We know we have to increase them already, but even more so now. So securing funding there and allocating funding to mental health services is going to be key. I also want to say that, you know, it's important to serve with dignity, to serve with a certain level of professionalism, to serve with humility, and to serve with respect. And that's something that's very important to me, that we respect our colleagues, we respect each other. We definitely respect our community, and we treat everyone with love and respect. And I'll say this much, I believe the school board and our school district is the best thing going in our city. And I know everybody here, and I'm gonna speak for myself now, I love San Bernardino. This is where I've raised my children. This is where I want people to come and live and have, you know, an outstanding place to educate their kids and prepare them for their futures.
Thank you. Ms. Campbell?
COVID-19 school closures have heightened the existing inequities in our education system and introduced new ones. Without a thoughtful and targeted response, these inequities will turn what is a gap into a canyon. Even in the best of times, San Bernardino school system delivers too many poor outcomes to low-income and students of color. Graduation rates for all ethnic groups show minimal success for students graduating with the 8th and G requirement. Testing should never be the sole measure of educational attainment, but statistics from the California Department of Education indicate that our students fall behind the county and the state in student performance. The transition to in-person, from in-person learning to the internet will even increase with that digital divide. San Bernardino City Schools, they did a good job with providing the hotspots and the laptops. I believe that education creates opportunity. And I'm running on this board for this community. I want to make sure that I believe all of our children deserve an opportunity to earn a great education.
Thank you. Mr. Gallo?
Yes, thank you. My whole focus for really my life has been to see that others have the opportunity to succeed and thrive in the greatest nation on this earth. One key discriminator that really creates the pathway and passport to prosperity is education. So it's a core focus of building healthy communities, of building economic development within a region, and creating career pathway opportunities and career growth opportunities for our city. We have almost 44% of our population on some sort of public assistance. The key driver and the key intervention is education, to see that they are qualified to actually be able to effectively compete for our demand occupations within our region. My focus has been to identify those demand occupations and regional demand fields, focus our education, training, and workforce and economic development dollars on building those economic foundations, and then seeing our education system actually move our own people and equip them with the skills so that they can compete for these good jobs within our own city. That's an economic development strategy. So my focus on education is really a community development plan.
Thank you. Ms. Capps?
Hi. Okay.
In the dark there.
There we go. So I agreed with what Dr. Wyatt said. I think it's very important. Humility is such a amazing quality. And so I would work with the other board members in concert. I think a diverse school board is important. So I see you kind of have that now, and that you have a parent on there who's not particularly, you know, your typical school board member. So I'm impressed with that. I'm a grandparent. I've been a community activist, and I have a heart for kids. I've taught release time in the Rialto School District, or not in the school district, but with my church. So anyways, I think I could bring a lot to the board. I'm not a rubber stamper. I question things. So I hope you will vote for me for school board. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson?
So I want to say first and foremost, I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their schedule to come look at us and see what we have to say about the issues. But the reason why I'm running for school board, like I said, is for my community. This campaign is not about me, it's about the community and to ensure that our students are college and career ready. The same achievement gaps that we see in the K through 12 system, we also see in higher education, and I want to close those achievement gaps. What I can bring in is a unique perspective. I'd be the only person on the board that's coming straight from a community college perspective, so I know what happens to our students after they leave our district. I want to ensure that our students come back into the community and give into the community, and so that's my goal. This is about the community, it's about the students. I can bring a unique perspective. The reason why I actually went back to get my doctorate is because I wanted to make sure that the education that I was providing to my students was equitable, and I would do the same if you elected me to school board. If you all would like more information about why I'm running and who I am, you can always look at our Facebook, Heather Johnson for San Bernardino City Unified School District, or our Instagram @HereForHeather with the number 4. But like I said, this is for my students. My 3 main goals are to close the digital divide, to create a secondary to post-secondary bridge program, and to advocate for early childhood education. I really appreciate you all taking time out of your day, and thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rodgers?
Thank you. I definitely, am I unmuted? I think I'm muted.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I definitely want to continue to build upon what has already been started. Education is so important to me, and I want all of the students to have the same opportunity I had. As I shared before, I am a product of San Bernardino City Unified, as well as my children, and they're doing well. And I know it's possible that we can continue to close the equity gap for our student that exists now. And the way we'll do that is continuing to build upon the programs that we have, but perfecting those. And as I mentioned, we know that during these COVID times, there are a lot of mental health challenges. And so So I'll continue to strengthen the wellness centers that we began. We know that academics in that area needs a lot of improvement. So we're going to look deeper into our A through G and our college and career readiness by ensuring that life skills are being supported, and that we're looking at what are the needs of the students and the voices from our students, and ensuring that FAFSAs are completed so that they do have the opportunity to go to college and know that there's funding there. And of course, we have to build out on our model of distance education, because I do believe it is here to stay. And so we have to make sure that that's quality, as whether we come back to brick and mortar or not, that the quality is there when it comes to the distance education. And finally, safety for all, continued safety. I can't say that enough. And I believe by being here on the Board of Education, I will continue to make sure that that happens, and we will come back when it's safe to do so. And please vote for me, Gwen Dowdy Rodgers. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ceballos?
Thank you so much, everyone, for the opportunity, and thank you to, again, the League of Women Voters for this. I can genuinely tell you that I currently do not have any other political ambitions at this point. My sole goal and ambition is to offer a fresh view for the district. I recognize that we are living in very difficult and unprecedented times. For this reason, I strongly believe it's time for a new and fresh perspective, one that will not be afraid to challenge the status quo and explore new and creative ways to teach students in this new normal. If you give me the opportunity to represent you this November, I will work on closing the achievement gap by redirecting services and funds to social economically disadvantaged students. What this means is investing in bettering the multi-tiered systems of support infrastructure, which includes response to instruction and intervention, focusing on differentiated learning, student-centered learning, individualized student needs, and the alignment of systems necessary for all students' academic needs, as well as behavioral and social success. I plan to achieve this by continuing to work closely, as I currently have been as a parent, with district officials and administrators, teachers and parents, to work collaboratively in supporting our students. I'm a huge advocate of high quality parent engagement. This means investing in efforts to provide parents with accurate information and educate them on how to best advocate for their children in a manner that is non-threatening and supportive of teachers, but still allows for accountability. And lastly, I'm committed to enhancing current programs such as AVID and college career readiness by fortifying the current pathways through community partnerships such as apprenticeships and more.
Thank you. And Dr. Hill?
Thank you, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for this opportunity to meet with all 8 of us. Thank you so much. 9 years ago, I wasn't sure I wanted to run for school board, so I put on Facebook I was considering it, and in a matter of a few hours, students said, you got to do it. You were there for us. You need to be there for the other students. And so for that reason, I ran. I'm running this time for the same reason. I'm there for 50,000 students. They are all very capable. They are all very willing. As long as we continue with the caring, the passion, and all those lovable things they like to do. I did at accreditation once and heard a young man say, you know, our schools and the teachers are right up there with our parents. And I do believe that. So the thing is, they look to us to get them out of whatever hard times they're having. They're looking to us to make sure they can move on and be successful citizens. So I'm running because I want every student to be safe. I want every parent to be comfortable and not worry about their child or children when they leave them with us. I want to make sure that every teacher cares about every student they come in contact with, and that we have a superintendent who will listen to parents, students, staff, the community, and everyone else. So the work has not been done, and I'm sure when I leave the board, it will not be done. But if I can be instrumental to moving it to the next step, that's my goal. That's my goal for 2020. So again, Margaret Hill, 2020, still moving mountains. Thank you.
Thank you. On the screen are your names and your contact numbers, which you said that we could put on the screen so that if people wanted to contact you. It's kind of small right now. Maybe it'll get bigger as we close. I'm not sure, but hopefully people can see that. This concludes the forum for candidates for the school board of San Bernardino City Unified School District. The League of Women Voters, San Bernardino Area, thanks the candidates for your participation and the audience for your attendance. This forum will be available on the League of Women Voters website until November 3rd. Good night, and be sure to vote.